What's going on, everybody? Welcome to TruthAddiction. This is the channel that deals with the disease of addiction and all the ways it manifests itself. I am a recovering addict and my name is Brian. I suffer from a disease which is progressive, it's incurable, and sometimes it's fatal. I want to do something a little different today. Today, I wanted to get into the difference between somebody with a substance abuse problem and somebody with the disease of addiction. Because as far as I'm concerned, there is a difference. So let's get it.
Bro, why are you wearing that hat?
I'll tell you why I'm wearing this hat. Because it's a jungle out there and ain't nobody gonna rape and pillage my village.
And then like years later, I eventually found my drug of choice, right?
What was it? Which drug?
Methamphetamines.
Meth, yeah,
It's
man.
a hell of a
That's
drug.
a crazy fucking drug.
Oh, I know.
Any drug you can make in your motherfucking kitchen is a fucking bad fucking drug, bro.
So which is why I'm able to like move to a brand new state and then find the plug within the first 10 minutes I'm there.
Yeah.
Like I know where to go, what to look for, the demeanors,
Dude, I'll get high in the motherfucking desert.
You know
bro.
what I mean?
If
For
I
real.
have to, I'll start straight sucking on scorpion tail or some shit, bro. I will find a way to use. Bring it on in, bring it on in, bring it on in. Hey, you know what, man? It's a nice day out today, man. You know, look, it's steamy. You know, it's we in the middle of August. It's a little cloudy. But you know what makes it a nice day, bro? I stayed clean today. I've been staying clean just for today for a little over 6 years, as a matter of fact. And I just want to let you know that the only reason that is because I went to a 12-step recovery program and I never left. I did what they suggested to me. I got a sponsor. I went to meetings. I worked the 12 steps with that sponsor. And I got me a network of people, bro. And most importantly, I developed a God of my understanding, right? Because sometimes people don't answer the phone, right? When you're sitting there by yourself, what you got? So I just want you to know, by me telling you I have a little over 6 years clean, it has nothing to do with bragging. It's just letting you know that the only reason that that's even possible is because I stay engaged in my fellowship, in my particular 12-step program. So I urge you to find one for you. You know what I mean? And if you are in one and happen to be, you know, understand that you're clean because you're in one, well, then hold on to it. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, let's get into what I wanted to talk about, right? Because I think this is an important issue. I want to talk about the difference between somebody with a drug problem and somebody with the disease of addiction. Now, there's probably people out there that are saying to themselves right now, but Brian, sounds like the same thing to me. But really, they're quite different, you know. So, an example of somebody with a drug problem, right? Things happen in this life, right? Traumatic events. We lose people, we lose jobs, we lose homes, right? Maybe you catch your spouse cheating, maybe you lose a child. There are things in this life that can happen to an individual that can make them turn to something that could take them out of themselves because they don't want to feel the pain, right? For an example, I had somebody that was close to me years ago, and that man walked in on his wife and cheating on him. Like, walked in and seen it. And this was like a real dude. Like, he took care of his family. You know what I mean? Like, he was a devoted husband. You know what I mean? You know how, a lot of people in relationships are just trash. I mean, let's call it for what it is. You know what I mean? There are quite a few people who just don't know how to stay loyal to a motherfucker or something like that. Or they don't mirror what their partner does for them or says to them. You know what I'm saying? They don't mirror the same love. But I can assure you, this guy did, right? And up until that point, he had no tendencies of a drug addict. But that shit sent him goofy, bro. I mean, within 3 months of that, he had like 2 DUIs. He was smoking rocks, which is, crack, in case I had to, explain what that was. Crack. And he was just off the rails, bro. Within about 6 months, he was off the fucking rails, right? Now, eventually, he has a couple people close to him in his family. He ends up hitting a couple 12-step recovery meetings. I think he went to a couple NA meetings and he went to a couple AA meetings, you know what I mean? And, for about a few months. And then, all of a sudden, he didn't need those meetings anymore, right? And he stayed clean. And since then, that was like 15 years ago, I just hit him up like on Facebook, like a couple months ago. I seen his profile come across, you know what I mean? And man, he's doing great. I talked to him on the phone for like 20 minutes. And, if you look at his profile, I mean, you could tell, like when you're, listen, everything on Facebook ain't true. But you could see like, he got married again. He looks happy, you know what I mean? And you can hear it in his voice. You can hear when you're talking to somebody, right? But I seen him come off it at first. Like, I seen him not use drugs. Like, he made a whole 180. But it had nothing to do with recovery. What had happened was, he got far enough away from the drug, right? Where he was able to come to his senses. And he realized the error of his ways. And, that was wrong for me to do. I don't know what the hell I was doing. And once he got clear-minded enough and that drug wasn't in his system long enough, he understood. And he never used again. Now let me give you the example of me. I started using probably around 16, 15 with weed and alcohol and such like that, right? But then, eventually, let's just fast forward. Eventually, here comes Percocet, oxycodone, heroin, you know what I mean? And, I was tore up from the fucking floor up, bro. You know what I mean? I went to detox, didn't make it, left so I can go use. Went to another one, left so I can go use some more. Caught me like 20, 30 days without no drug in me, right? Still went back where I left off, right? And eventually, I actually go to a rehab and stay for 30 days. The full 30 days, right, in this rehab. And I came out and I went into 12-step recovery, right? And I stayed for 9 years. I stayed clean for 9 years, right? And what happened was, eventually, I started to think that, like, I was normal. Like, I was like that dude. You know what I mean? I'm not going to say his name, but, let's just call him T. I was like T. Shit, I seen T get right. He didn't need all this stuff. I've been going and doing all these meetings and reaching out to people and going to, doing H&I commitments, which is hospitals and institutions. That's when a particular 12-step program sends somebody in to talk to people in jail or in rehabs, people who OD'd or shit like that, right? Right? So I was engaged in the process of recovery. So what happened was eventually, like, my life had changed. I had got married and I was, doing the whole good dad thing, all that shit, right? And I started to fall off of that program. I started to fall back from my program. I stopped answering the phone for people. I had people that I was sponsoring. The guy that was sponsoring me, I didn't answer the phone for nobody. I started to just fall back. Like, I really believed that I had seen the error of my ways. And bro, I trashed my life before I got clean up to that point. But you know what happened? Eventually, I stopped going to meetings, right? I just stopped. It happened. It was it wasn't an overnight thing. It was, one meeting a week, one meeting every 2 weeks, one meeting a month, and so on and so forth. And the phone call stopped. And when I look back now, one of the first things that stopped was I stopped praying, right? I went from every morning, at some point, I wasn't one of those dudes, and I still ain't to this day, where I get up, get on my knees, right? I'm not even a religious guy, to be honest. But to me, getting on your knees and praying you don't have to be religious to do that. It's just kind of like an acknowledgement to the universe that you understand how blessed you are that you're clean today. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, I went from every day at some point in the day, like thanking my higher power for the daily reprieve today. And when I look back, I realized I stopped doing that. That was one of the first things I stopped doing, which is crazy. But eventually, see, I done fucking trashed my life previous to that 9 years clean. Some wicked shit. And you know what happened? I was at a wedding one day. This is after not using a drug or a drink for 9 years. But now I have no program in place. I was at a wedding. The champagne was going around. And you know what? I was like, I'm going to do it. And I took one, man, and I'm going to tell you like this, bro. Within 8 months, it was on and popping, bro. I had a fucking wicked ass pill habit again. I mean, it was crazy. Shit was off the rail. And if you fast forward that, 4 years after that, right? So I've been clean 6.5 years. So we going back now like 7 years. That culminated in a 4-year vicious ass drug run to where I lost my kids. I lost myself. I mean, it was just a wrap. Way worse than it was before, too. And it was bad back then, right? But my point is, you know what? I consider myself a pretty intelligent person. I do. I mean, I read. I study shit. I can say big words when I have to, right? I know the difference between right and wrong. I knew how insane it would be for me to go use a drug again. But you know what, bro? I got a brain that wants me dead, bro. Every fucking day. It wants me to be suffering. You understand what I'm saying? So like I put out a YouTube short. Just gets me to that real quick. I put out a YouTube short earlier, and I talked about how over 100,000 people died of overdoses. Can't talk today. And I was like, get help today, whatever I said. And somebody left a comment. It's still there. I mean, I went back and forth with this dude. There's like 18 comments on this one fucking short I just put out. Just today, earlier today. And this dude got on and was like, Don't give me that crazy shit. It's a choice. You choose to do that. You know, as far as I'm concerned, he actually said this, as far as I'm concerned, let the bodies drop. Right? It basically in some crazy way he was talking about how, hey, you know, the fentanyl's just doing what the government can't do, and that's trying to stop addiction. I mean, yo, to each their own, right? Now don't get it fucked up. Your boy went back at him, believe that. Cause you know, all he was spitting was his own personal theories and shit. Right? And I told him that, yo, that comment made me sick, bro. To be honest with you. You know, and like you're just coming at me with crazy political views and this and that and societal views. But see, bro, when it comes to this disease, like this shit is as real as a fucking heart attack. And I need facts, my man. You coming at me with some old wavy crazy shit. I need facts. I need facts like how, you know what I mean, the American fucking Disease Addiction Association, whatever the fuck that's called, how they define it as a chronic brain disorder. That's how they define addiction. I need facts. I need to hear from a neurologist, motherfucker, not you. That's what I stand on. So it ain't just about my personal experience, bro. There is a lot of smart ass people who have studied the addiction and the effects on the brain all their fucking life, bro. And they know it's a disease. Anyway, like I was saying, I consider myself pretty intelligent. So it's like, how does somebody that intelligent go back to that? How did you get back here, bro? And like, that's when it hit me. So I find myself back into recovery, finally, by way of a fucking crisis center, bro. You know what I mean? But I find my way back into 12-step recovery. And I was on a mission. I need to find out what the fuck I did wrong. Come to find out, really what I did wrong was I just stopped going to the meetings and shit. I stopped doing what was working. I stopped properly treating the disease that I have, is what happened. Right? And I paid the price. It's just like if, you know, it was like I started, it's like I had diabetes and I started treating my fucking high sugar. I don't even know how diabetes works, but it was like I started treating my diabetes with like cheesesteaks and tasty cakes, bro. Like the treatment was all fucked up. You know what I mean? So my point is, and I'm not the only one, bro. I've seen some pretty fucking smart people, yo, with some really good jobs in fields, bro, that you have to be fucking smart, dude. Like you have to have some sense. I've seen people like that stay off of drugs, leave the program that they're in, and go back and use again. So it ain't got nothing to do with intelligence. It ain't got nothing to do with willpower, and it damn sure ain't got nothing to do with a choice. You understand what I'm saying? And here's the thing. I know that's debatable. That goes around the world like shit. That whole, you have a choice whether you want to use drugs or not. You have a choice. You know what I mean? So, but here's the thing. Here's what I'll say about that. Let's just say that somebody is making the choice to fucking poison themselves. Somebody is making the choice to go get a bag of dope or a pill on the street that can now be stamped with fentanyl. Shit, the pills could have fentanyl in them, right? Somebody's making that choice to do that to themselves, right? Let's just say I agree with that. Here's what I got to say to that. What kind of person chooses to do that? What kind of person would make the choice to poison themselves? And my thing is this. I know what kind of person would do that. A person that's in a state of insanity. That's who would do that. Right? So now, if it's about somebody making a choice, yeah, but there's a difference between like the choice, right? Like if you got a crazy person making the choice to run out in the fucking street naked, stabbing himself in the neck with a knife, right? We wouldn't, if we seen a scene like that, we wouldn't go, oh, that dude just chose to stab himself in the neck 5 fucking times in the middle of traffic naked. No, we would be like, yo, that dude went insane. That dude's sick. That's why it's a disease. So I personally don't think an addict has a choice, especially an addict in active addiction. There's no, bro, you wake up and you got to get one. There's no choice. You got to get one. The only thing that happens to where you get some kind of choice is the desperation level goes like code red, bro. Everything's gone. Maybe you OD and end up in a hospital, whatever it is. Something happens that your like fight or flight response kicks in. Like that thing in your body that tells you like, yo, you need to survive as a human being, right? It's instilled in us. Like there's this like moment of clarity. But for a lot of us, we don't get that. We just die. Or we just keep living the way we are and doing kind of like this slow motion death. You understand what I'm saying? So, as far as I'm concerned, it's a disease. So I just wanted to put that out there, right? There's traumatic events that happen in life to people, and they turn to a pill or a bottle or a bad situation because they just want to numb the pain, right? I mean, could you imagine losing a child or something like that? Like, yo, I know a dude right now in my process. I just interviewed him, right? Like, he just lost his son to cancer. I think his son was like 11, 10. And it ain't even been that long, like 10 months. This motherfucker's still clean. As far as I know today, he's still clean. That was like 10 months ago. And he went through a bunch of shit, right? Before his child even died from the cancer. Like a whole bunch of chemo, all that shit, bro. And I just sit back like, yo, I don't know if I could do that. I would like to think I could, right? But see, here's the thing. And it's like I told him during the interview. Because I said like this. You know, it was like, I know why you're still clean. And that's because I keep seeing you in meetings. You just keep coming. That's it. I know a couple people who've lost kids and stayed clean through it because they stayed engaged in their process, right? I'm just spilling water all over myself. This ain't coffee, by the way, it's water. Anyway, sometimes traumatic shit happens and we get involved with the wrong people, places, and things, right? But then maybe a family member steps in and says, yo, what the fuck are you doing with your life? Or maybe your boss says, yo, you're fucking up. We're going to fire you, whatever it is. And it gives you that little moment, right? As a normal person with just a fucking drug problem. And you kind of go, what the fuck am I doing? And you catch yourself and then you get away from the drug long enough to realize the error of your ways. And you don't need no 12-step program. You don't need no motherfucking doctor. You don't need none of that shit. You just realize you were fucking up. But see, with somebody with the disease of addiction, ain't no realizing you were fucking up, bro, and stopping. It just don't happen. For me, there's only one way a person with the disease of addiction not only gets clean, but stays clean. Fuck getting clean. My program didn't get me clean. A rehab got me clean. My program keeps me clean, right? Through a bunch of empathy, not sympathy, empathy. Being able to relate to the group around me and have that kind of support, right? Because here's what I've learned. Your mama can't keep you clean. Your fucking husband and your wife can't keep you clean. Your dying grandma ain't gonna keep you clean. Your kids ain't gonna keep you clean, right? And your religion alone, just your religion, that won't keep you clean either. There's a power in the rooms of a 12-step recovery program. And there's a process of admitting to the problem that you have, right? And realizing how unmanageable you have become, right? And seeking the power that can help your powerless ass, because you obviously can't fucking do it on your own, right? And then you come to believe like, yo, I'm gonna fucking stay in this process. And through that, you start to uncover some shit about yourself. Things that you have done to people, things that people have done to you, why you act the way you do, why you behave the way you do. And you start to uncover some fucking like character defects, some fucking shortcomings about yourself, right? How you react to situations that you would like to change, and you actually start to change them. And then you get to a point where like, yo, I need to go talk to some people and tell them I'm sorry for the shit I've done. Whether they accept that apology or not, it is what it is. But you get to make those amends, man. And that shit feels good. Sometimes for the people you making an amends to, sometimes it's just for you, right? And then you just go on to like, just to continue to check your fucking self and to be the most understanding person you can, the most compassionate person you can, and the most humble person you can, right? And then you take all that and you learn to put it out in the atmosphere. Be like that with everybody, not just other recovering people, with your family and your friends and your fucking coworkers. This process is a wonderful process. And it's needed for someone with the disease of addiction. So anyway, I'm going to wrap this up. And I'm going to wrap it up with this. Everything I just said is to say this. Always compare yourself to yourself. Because the minute you start comparing yourself to somebody else, you can find yourself in a whole world of shit, bro. All kinds of balled up in a fetal position. Because there's a lot of shit that stems from that. Like before you know it, you'll be looking for your value or your worth in somebody else's eyes. And you don't want to get into that place, right? So anyway, like I end every video here, just remember this. The disease of addiction, it's broad and it's outside of the realm of just using drugs. Keep coming back. More will be revealed. I'm out of here, bro.